I'm not gonna lie, I actually really don't like the look of the Game Informer website because it looks so freaking jank, but I digress. So, for those of you guys that have been a part of the Spyro universe and have played all of the Spyro games have a very magical soundtrack to them. Make no mistake about that. There's like this wonder to the music. It's usually pretty upbeat, especially like in places like the home worlds, for example. I think of like, Sunny Beach from Spyro 2. I think of maybe not Aquarius. I was like thinking around like what other levels have like really bumping tracks, but I feel like a lot of places have really bumping tracks. Like, I was gonna say Summer Forest for an example, but the thing about Summer Forest is that it's kind of like a peaceful, relaxing place to be. When I look at Idle Springs, Colossus, again, I'm using a lot of Spyro 2 levels because Spyro 2 is my personal favorite Spyro game of all time, but there's just something magical about a lot of the music in the Spyro universe. And so it probably wouldn't surprise you, well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise you if you're a fan of Spyro, but Stuart Copeland, the drummer from the band The Police, is actually not going to be composing for the new Spyro game, which is kind of sad to say. Like, I think the last game that Stuart Copeland worked on would have been either Enter the Dragonfly or A Hero's Tale. Because Enter the Dragonfly, I would argue, was probably his best soundtrack. I love the music in most of the other games, but Enter the Dragonfly's soundtrack was just... there was something about it where it just felt a lot better. And honestly, like... hey, if there's no harm, no foul, I feel like there's nothing to truly be disappointed about. Also, I didn't know that Stuart Copeland was the co-founder of The Police. In fact, I don't know if a lot of people are even going to know who The Police is. That's actually a really funny thing to think about. But yeah, unfortunately, we won't be hearing any tunes from him in Spyro Realm Reborn. Oh, Realm Reborn. Jesus Christ. A Realm Beyond. Holy crap, I have to get used to that title. The Independent had actually interviewed Copeland to discuss Copeland, an upcoming documentary about his life, career premiering at Radiance Film Festival this week. Oh damn, I gotta check that out. As well as other topics. During the chat, the famed musician confirmed to the outlet he has no involvement in Spyro. Thank goodness I'm not the only one who made the mistake. A Realm Beyond geniuses at Game Informer, even though... I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to make this mistake. The first original Spyro game since 2008 revealed... 2008, really? No, because... we're going with the date 2008, assuming that the last original Spyro game was supposed to be The Legend of Spyro, Dawn of the Dragon. When did we get Skylanders? Because that's technically not a Spyro game, but let's have a quick look-see. Spyro's Adventure. When did that drop? 2011. Okay, cool. So yeah. So I do agree with the statement that we should not call Skylanders a Spyro game, because even though the first game has Spyro in the title, it's not technically a Spyro game. Copeland says it happens that way. Copeland tells The Independent, it's a new generation, they want a new generation of sound and everything, they've got to modernize it, no harm, no foul. Copeland created the soundtracks for the original Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, Year of the Dragon, Enter the Dragonfly. His tracks were also remastered with his involvement for the Reignited trilogy, which you could tell, you could hear it, in which he also composed a new title. Really? Huh. Didn't really know that. You can watch him discuss his work during Spyro the Dragon and also play in the game in the classic PlayStation Underground featurette. That's actually pretty crazy. And of course, Spyro Realm Beyond, not Realm Reborn, is scheduled to launch in 2027 for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Switch 2, and PC. So an incredibly short article to say the least, but holy crap, even this article here got the name completely wrong, just as I got the name completely wrong when I was reading it up here. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, absolutely no surprise that I was going to be talking about as much of this new Spyro game as humanly possible, because I love this series with every fiber of my being. Spyro 2 was the first game that I ever had, and seeing a proper fourth in the series that doesn't include the PS2 games is one to really be excited for and about. Like, make no mistake about that. And whether or not you want to even count the PS2 games plus the Legend of Spyro games, I mean, you do you. But obviously, I think with the Legend of Spyro games, technically those were more I don't know, like brawler titles compared to, like, say, Shadow Legacy, which I have not talked about at all this entire time, because that slow ass moving RPG does not exist in this timeline as far as I'm concerned, even though it technically is. You know, mixed opinions, so to speak. But, you know, it's the first 3 games that we know and love, and depending on who you ask, potentially Enter the Dragonfly. But after that, you're probably not really going to see much in the way of fandom for the other Spyro games, and not as much for Skylanders either. So I do have every Skylanders game now, and I have been looking to actually make a video where I actually play through all the Skylanders games and basically make a video sort of detailing the information about each of them and kind of just explaining them to some extent. But yeah, honestly, that's like a video for later on. But this is something that isn't really a small thing. Copeland has been part of the Spyro DNA for an extraordinarily long time. And so, if you know anything about Spyro, if you're a fan of Spyro and you care about Spyro as a series from the very beginning, this is one that's going to hit you a little bit differently than it will a lot of other people. And so it certainly hit me in a way that I didn't expect. A little bit of sadness to know that we're not going to hear the magical tracks of Stuart Copeland in this game. So we'll have to wait and see what the actual music is going to be like. Will they take some lessons from the music of the past? Will they continue to push that forward? Will it feel the same? Will it be different? Will it be unique? I feel like the music for Crash 4 was incredibly well done. So I feel like if they've got good people on this game, they're gonna know what's up. Let's put it that way. So with that being said, though, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. And if there's one last thing that I kind of want to leave this video with, is that you can have a really good game and a okay soundtrack and the game would still be good. But if you have a good game and an exceptional soundtrack, you've got Game of the Year. You don't need to have the best game in the world, but if the music elevates the game to a higher extent than what the game ever could by itself, look at Expedition 33 as an example. It just becomes one of the greatest games of all time, it feels like. Not because of the gameplay or the game, but because the music elevated it so much more than it ever could have otherwise. But I'll just leave that with you guys in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 600 subs by the end of the year. And with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.